When you start looking at the perfect sailboat to live on, the first factor that comes to mind is, of course, size. Size matters when it comes to boats. Depending on your budget and needs, you will be able to come up with a rough range of lengths. When we first bought our 26-foot catamaran Kittiwake, knowing very little about boats and only needing space for two, we went for the smallest boat we could see ourselves living on, because our budget was extremely tight. I guess we proved that as a couple, you can live on a 26-foot catamaran, which is probably the equivalent to a 30 to 32 feet monohull. We have also met solo sailors who lived on 26-foot monohulls. To enter the Atlantic Rally for cruisers, you need a sailboat that's at least 27 feet long, so there's that if you need a semi-official length. After 2 years on Kittiwake, we realized that not being able to stand up down below was kind of a biggie, so we moved on to a Tayana 37, a decent size, solid offshore cruiser that we got for a good price and we could still afford to moor and maintain. For us, this is the perfect size of boat for a livable couple on a budget. The size of boat you choose depends, of course, on how many crew live on board, if you want to take extra crew with you every now and then, and your budget for the purchase and maintenance. Modern designs usually feature many berths down below and a spacious cockpit, which are great for a family or someone who often sails with friends. If you plan to live aboard long term, having a berth that is somehow separate from your galley and saloon is quite important. A cockpit where the benches are long enough to nap on during an off watch or relax in an anchorage are also a great feature. The size of the galley also needs to be decent so you can cook most meals on board rather than survive on tinned foods and cold cuts. Some people prefer to be able to shower indoors to avoid accidentally flashing their neighbours in an anchorage. Others prefer to shower in the cockpit with a pressure water sprayer to keep moisture out of the boat and hair out of the bilge. Whatever boat you choose, be sure not to buy a boat that you can't afford to fix, properly maintain or moor during a storm. This is a lot more dangerous than living small. Unless you are living in a marina with a secure source of income, you're better off not financing your boat. The saying, boats are money pits, while extremely negative, has some truth in it. The purchase price is just the first of many costs you'll have to sustain. Paying for maintenance and storage on top of a monthly installment is a lot. Buy the boat that fits your needs and budget. Yes, there will be compromises to be made, but you won't regret making them when there's a hurricane coming your way or a through-hull breaks and you have to haul out. Losing the boat would be terrible, of course, but it would not lead you to financial ruin. Size and budget are crucial factors to choosing a boat, but there are a number of other aspects you'll want to consider carefully before settling on a certain model. Another important aspect to choosing a livable boat is the level of comfort on board. I don't mean how soft the settees feel or how big the berths are. How the boat moves on the water and at anchor is a big deal. There is a sort of objective way to measure this. It's called a boat motion comfort ratio. The ratio generates a score which is based on many factors, such as the underwater body shape, the sail area, the displacement, the length of the waterline, and more. There are some pre-made lists online that show the scores of many popular boats. If you can't find the boat you're interested in on these lists, you can work it out yourself with the formula, which is quite clearly explained on Sail magazine. I'll put a link to their article in the description of this video. Of course, the score is just a number. You can't make a decision on a boat based on it. How the boat feels when underway is something you need to experience for yourself. How you feel on a certain boat also depends on you and how seasick you get. However, using the boat motion comfort ratio score can be a good way to rule out some designs with a very low score. For some sailors, sailing fast is a big deal. It means completing passages faster and being able to dodge bad weather in some cases. If this is you, remember that speed comes at a cost. Usually, it means a less stable, comfortable boat underway and at anchor, more physical effort while sailing, and less stowage capability. Many cruisers don't mind sailing slower. They enjoy exploring foreign countries at 6 knots. The type of cruising you want to do is also a big factor in deciding what boat to go for. If you plan to mainly go coastal hopping with the occasional 2 to 3 day passage, a coastal cruiser will usually do. If instead you want to be able to undertake ocean passages, sail offshore far from help for many days in a row, and travel to remote destinations, you should consider a blue water cruiser. A coastal cruiser is usually less solidly built, more maneuverable, and it will be designed to entertain guests rather than for dealing with heavy weather and being self-sufficient for long stretches of time. Many models by Beneteau, Dufour, Bali, and PDQ fall into this category. A blue water cruiser is a boat that has been designed with safety and self-sufficiency in mind. Typically, a blue water boat has a skeg-hung rudder or a rudder attached to the back of the keel to prevent rudder damage during a collision. The keel is usually encapsulated, so it can't fall off in the middle of the ocean. The hull is made of thick fiberglass, carbon, steel, or aluminium, solid materials that are hard to hold. The cockpit and cabin are easy to move through in heavy weather. The boat is able to heave to in a heavy storm, and there's plenty of storage down below to keep long life food on board. And of course, there is a self-steering device or two on board, as well as a reliable way to generate energy offshore. These are not all fixed requirements for going offshore. Cruisers decide what risks are worth taking based on their knowledge when choosing a boat. As a rule of thumb, the more of these requirements the boat ticks, the safer she is. Albin Vegas, Tayanas, Halberg Rassis, and Ovnis are good examples of blue water sailboats. Finally, it's also important to consider the rig type, configuration, and size for the boat you have your eyes on. It's best to choose the rig based on your experience and confidence, and the crew you plan to take with you. Can you and your crew confidently handle a Bermudian sloop with a large sail area? Or does it make more sense to divide the sail area up into smaller and easier to manage sails like in a kata or a ketch? That's it. You can live on any size sailboat really, as long as it's the right boat for your needs, budget, and plans. We have seen solo sailors living on 22-foot sailboats without refrigeration, and couples living on 60-foot luxury catamarans. There's people living on all sorts of boats out there, so don't feel pressured to buy a certain size of boat or model. The best boat you can buy is the one you're not afraid of breaking, you can maintain to a high standard, you feel safe on, and you can see yourself living on long term. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like and check out our channel. We have lots of practical videos like this one, as well as our regular episodes. See you next week!